3. Principles of Organization. Nature of the co-design workshop. By telling architectural experts and city planners what they want, residents have unleashed startling reserves of creativity, community spirit, and political clout. Lynn Newman McDowell. Participants quite often speak to us years afterward of their experience in co-design workshops. They feel a sense of pride in the architecture that resulted and can say, I had a hand in creating that. There's no alienation. They identify with the places as their own. Life flourishes in these places, for they are designed with the people who use them. Notable architecture results: Arthur Erickson's Robson Square in Vancouver and the nearby Falls Creek housing development, which was designed by a team of Vancouver architects and urban and landscape designers, are excellent examples. We will expand on these later. For the co-design artists who act as architectural facilitators, it is exhilarating. Once it is experienced, all the other processes of architectural design are insufficient, lacking essential elements that the users can provide. Facilitation stretches the designer's capabilities, calling for a greater command of design skills than does traditional practice alone. It offers at last a task worthy of all the intensive concentration on design in architectural education, with scope enough to absorb all of a designer's aspirations. Opportunities to occupy a wide range of design skills occur in the intensive exchange of information. Design skills in planning, urban design, and landscape architecture all apply. The improvement of any human environment forms a fitting subject for design participation by the users. Co-design projects range from large urban areas to small restaurants, from wilderness regions to pocket parks. The variety of environments includes residential, commercial, educational, recreational, religious, and civic uses. The nature of all workshops has the same basic format. The steps of the co-design program. These 7 basic steps of the co-design workshop program act as a guide in gathering participants' ideas for the design of improvements to the environment. 1. Listing the activities that might occur when the place is suitably designed. 2. Taking a site walk to perceive its qualities. 3. Visualizing and describing ideas for a suitable environment for each activity. These are called the parts. 4. Rating the priorities of the parts. 5. Bringing the parts together into a concept design. 6. Exhibiting the concept design in the community and collecting second thoughts. 7. Setting out the concept design in a report for discussion of ways to achieve the objectives. When distinct groups of citizens participate, each may hold a separate workshop to visualize ideas and contribute to the concept design. Typically 3 are held, 1 for the children, 1 for the workshop volunteers, and 1 for the public. Merchants may prefer to attend an early bird breakfast workshop and then return to their stores. Area of land considered during a co-design workshop. The area considered during the co-design workshop for a neighborhood or open space can be walked comfortably. In most cases, a distance of about 1 square mile encompasses all activities that the participants wish to consider. These activities, with few exceptions, will be for pedestrians. Exceptions occur in such design topics as bicycle or bridle trails, boating, and cross-country skiing. When to conduct a co-design workshop program. The co-design workshop occurs early in the design process after the idea for improvement has been proposed and before the concept has been designed. In professional terms, co-design combines programming and concept design. At this stage, individuals or groups undertake to pursue the idea further. They may constitute a planning or building committee or a community association, a planning office of a city, or a parks board, or a concerned group of citizens. Their task in general is to study the feasibility of the idea and define the concept. In detail, the tasks vary from rallying interest in a project to controlling a flood of interest from competing groups, instructing professional designers, arranging funding, and producing a concept that meets the needs of the community and the city. It is during this time that discussion occurs about conducting a co-design workshop. Objectives of co-design workshops. A co-design workshop assists communities in achieving certain objectives. When planning, a committee or concerned citizens discuss the suitability of co-design to their needs, they emphasize that such a workshop 1. Provides an event as much as a planning exercise. As a social and artistic event, it attracts many people and encourages them to participate in the long-term planning process, often devoting more of their time than they might otherwise invest in planning matters. 2. Attracts volunteers and supporters. A large volunteer program for the co-design workshops, with each volunteer having a small task to perform, identifies a large group of active supporters, a strong factor in the success of the initial work and financing of the project. 3. As to the city planning resources, usually financed in part by the community association and the city, the program both reinforces the professional capability of city planners and focuses their work on the participation program. 4. Generates many ideas. Everyone who attends the workshop can participate actively, adults as well as young people. All the ideas, even conflicting ones, are accepted, developed into images, and presented to the community. 5. Focuses discussion. Discussion focuses on a series of questions related to the life that will be experienced in the new or renewed place. What activities will occur, when, how many people will be there, what kind of place it should be. Concentration on these questions enables the participant to contribute to the discussion from their own experience, from their knowledge of the area and the work and life that exists there. 6. Overcomes barriers to participation. Ignorance of management policy, lack of planning or architectural expertise, and age present no barriers to participation. As it is largely a visual process, it overcomes language barriers. Points that are raised on political issues can be brought into focus by asking, what would you be doing in this place if all of your other aims were achieved? 7. Assists community members to understand the implications of the ideas. The images and word descriptions for each idea make the ideas easy to understand and easy to imagine as an actual experience in the life of each resident. 8. Identifies important issues. The participants vote on all the ideas to establish which ones have priority. The large number of ideas and the images and words that describe them is the definition of community priorities. 9. Helps people understand architectural plans. Each detail of the plan is related to the images. The details explain the reality of the plan and what it means in terms of a person's experience. 10. Provides a second look at the ideas. The presentation of the concept plan a few days after the workshop and the traveling exhibition that later tours the community before the final presentation give everyone a chance to take a second look, scale down overblown ideas, and work out ways of achieving more or less. 11. Presents a strongly unified proposal. The large turnout at the workshop, the many ideas produced, the priority voting, and the touring exhibition around the community present a strong case to the city officials and funding agencies. 12. Provides a professional presentation of residents' wishes. The professional background and the performance of the co-design team bridges the gap between the community and the planners. It also impresses officials who view the result as the practicable demonstration of the residents' wishes. 13. Creates images that guide decision-making and promote future development. The images indicate the lifestyle as well as the mood and characteristics of the new place. Funding agents, developers, and merchants who see the images accompanying the plan know that the ideas were created by the community and in turn derive confidence and guidance for their future development proposals. 14. Increases community vitality. A large number of people are brought together to express and share their ideas and indicate their priorities. The workshop focuses the discussion on areas in which they have expertise and helps them visualize the possibilities and bring the ideas together into a concept. 15. Acknowledges community values. Community values identify large areas of common understanding and aspiration. People express individual ideas that they feel will be welcome to their neighbors. The result of many individual ideas of this kind, all seen together, is the expression of a community ideal. It awakens perceptions and appreciations of neighborhood values and portrays the community as lively and vital. 16. Leaves greater scope for creativity in subsequent design. Designers find that the co-design workshops give them more ideas than they might have expected the community to suggest. They also find that the process saves them time because they have more information about the user's requirements. One landscape architect said after a children's co-design workshop, "I like it, I really enjoyed it. I think it's super to get the kids in. Without the kids, the design lacks the child stimulus. I feel isolated. With the children, the designs do come along much easier." Who takes part? Bringing people together. Bringing people together for a planning meeting is a recurrent problem for communities of every size. Neighborhood planning meetings typically are characterized by poor turnouts despite planners' enormous efforts to notify the public in advance. The co-design process provides two features that help bring people together: volunteers and their family and friends, on-the-spot drawing. First, people are brought together through the creation of a large group of 40 or more volunteers, each doing a little to organize the workshop. They make and distribute posters, set up the hall, provide refreshments and music, work as writers and sidewalk guides, and otherwise participate in the workshop as part of their duties. The volunteers themselves bring their families and friends in on the day of the workshop event. The second feature is the on-the-spot drawing of ideas by artists. Both of these arrangements make an event of an occasion, more a celebration of participants' ideas than a formal planning exercise with quasi-judicial proceedings. Writing of a workshop attended by more than 100 people despite a winter blizzard with -40 centigrade temperatures, reporter Bob Shields of the Calgary Herald wrote. Many who came to scoff became believers. It did sound like an odd idea. People with suggestions about how downtown High River's image might be improved were invited to get together with some artists who could convert their proposals into pictures. The main attraction was the instant imagery. People offered ideas to improve the downtown area, and the artist converted their ideas into drawings. Users' contributions. The users of a place represent an incredibly rich yet often untapped source of information for the designer. Co-design organizes user participation into three phases. 1. Defining the existing environment as a process rather than as a fixed project. 2. Experiencing the reality of the environment. And 3. Taking the next step in the development of the environment towards an ideal goal. Users contribute to the design process in the following areas. 1. Way of life. Users know it in intimate detail, and they are the best people to advise about the detailed function that our architecture must accommodate. 2. Site values. As residents or workers in an area, they know the site and its values and can communicate this knowledge far more effectively, quickly, and thoroughly than can written site data. Their knowledge is focused on the activities that the architecture will accommodate. 3. Time. The users know the life of the place at all times of day or night and in all seasons. They know the full round of life, the dull period, and the celebrations. 4. History. They know the past of the place, the memories that make the users feel it to be their own, that give them an allegiance to it. 5. Circulation. They know the walks, the shortcuts, the sequence of activities that can be linked in a walk or ride, and the best route for bicycles. 6. Costs. In the experience, users help keep costs down, contrary to fears that they will ask for the moon. They know the job to be done when a Ford will do, and the Cadillac is unnecessary. They know where cuts and savings can be made. They also know that they will end up paying the taxes and the price tag. and they exercise a restraint on overspending by officials. These officials often assume that the role of heroic creators, developing what we call the Napoleonic look, the gleam of the power in which they see themselves leaving a great heritage of achievement. 7. Politics. The users have experience with what is achievable and are good judges of what might be achieved in the future. Their ideas are realistic. Young people. The ideal of city planning is for the children to be able to use the city, for no city is governable if it does not grow citizens who feel it is theirs. Paul Goodman. Children, with their concerned comments on the changing environments, gave impetus to the co-design process. They also shaped the characteristics of the process. The avoidance of professional jargon, the focus on one's experience of environments as the basis for discussion, and the use of images enabling children to participate alongside adults. The first 2 workshops with young children were held in 1972 in Nova Scotia, Canada. After the first in Port Hawkesbury, 3 junior high school boys hitchhiked 200 miles to help with the second workshop in Halifax. The next 2 workshops were in Vancouver. At the second, I recognized 7 fifth grade boys who had been at the previous workshop. They had walked 25 blocks across downtown to help. This kind of response has continued. 2 noticeable tendencies in children prompted the creation of a special event to prepare them for the design workshop. The first tendency is an inability to accept that the built environment changes. They need security early in life. They need to know that when parents leave the room, they will return, and that later, when they walk around the block, the house will be there again when they return. This tendency in a child may build within them an inability to recognize the process of environmental change, and when they see change, to regard it with fear and distrust. The second, not necessarily limited to children, is a tendency to hold a they responsible for the changes. The distant they consists of the government, developers, engineers, architects, and even the bulldozer. To overcome this attitude, co-design holds the special event called City on the Wall, in which the children draw a large picture of a settlement developing from village to metropolis. The children demonstrate to themselves and to those watching the processes and results of urbanization. They show how development is not the work of an alien force spoiling the environment. It is us. What was first a sleepy village evolves into a prosperous town and then into a monstrous modern city crammed with high-rises, freeways, industry, and pollution. The children look at the city they have drawn and they dislike it. They set themselves the question, how do we draw a better city? The next stage of the process, the site walk, gives children scope for participation. They know a neighborhood intimately. It is their playground, and they can guide the adults to the special places children forever enjoy. A place that is safe for a child is safe for everyone. The discussion of perception through the bodily senses as a basis for design lets the child take part. Feet for movement and ground texture, stomach for time and intervals of toilet and food, heart for friends and people close by, head for mood, eyes for sight, ears for sound, face and hands for movement of air and surface textures, and nose for smell. Children are most perceptive of us all. With the use of images in communication, children overcome any shyness of expression and feel at home with the drawings. A workshop program in 1974 for Mount Pleasant, an inner city suburb in Vancouver, gave us an opportunity to measure the interest of young people. The ages of people in the neighborhood were evenly distributed from children to senior citizens. Early in the survey, the age group between 25 and 34 showed the most interest in sitting with us to discuss the future of the area. Second to this age group was the group for 15-year-olds and under. Third was the 15 to 24 age group. Despite visits to senior citizen groups and talks with businessmen, the ratio stayed constant throughout the survey. The more we sought to attract the older people, the more we attracted the younger. Over 80% of the interested participants were with the age groups 34 and younger. Senior citizens. Some seniors express reluctance to participate, saying, "Let the younger people have the say. We've had our say." They often prefer to describe the history of the place and its past qualities or problems. In this way, they perform a usual role, stabilizing the mood of changing more firmly on the base of historical continuity, and at the same time heightening community respect for the many residents who have worked towards improvements in the past. In group discussions, the elderly often show an affinity with young people and a delight in their ideas. In return, the youngsters show delight and amazement in the experience of the old. Usually, young and old work together with great enjoyment, although there are exceptions when certain seniors exhibit nervousness over the energy the young people display, even an angry resentment over their presence. The presence of young people causes them to feel that event is less than distinguished and that the discussion is unimportant. Care in organization is necessary to let the senior citizens know that children will be present and will take part in the proceedings. Special arrangements are included in workshops for the elderly, which are planned as social events. Free refreshments are provided and tend to be an important attraction to the elderly. In addition, volunteer writers are assigned to sit with any senior citizen who wishes to talk about the history of the place. When an articulate senior describes a preferred environment, the response is recorded with care. Usually it is pure gold in quality, spoken from long experience and based on a deep understanding of life, free of any need to impress. Often it is spoken quietly and without emphasis, and it may not be repeated. Therefore, the writer needs to be alert and to quiet the discussion of others so that the response can be recorded. Politicians and planners. At the co-design workshop, politicians are accepted as family, fellow community members discussing how they would use and enjoy the place. They excel in this role in that they are articulate and often well-traveled. They enjoy the opportunity to say what they personally would prefer. Their presence strengthens the rapport between the community and the government and creates a climate in which government action can realize community ideas. Similarly, the presence of the planners provides a continuity with the discussions on strategies that follow the workshop. Planners are seen as contributors with facts to help the community achieve its aims, and co-designers, specially trained artists, are seen as sharing their talents with the community and extending their capabilities of expression. Media. Co-design workshops receive favorable press and television coverage. The idea of people, and particularly children, working with architects to produce images is newsworthy. In addition, workshops often occur in a context of political controversy. The active scene of artists drawing visions of people's ideas makes for arresting television. A broadcast of the volunteers' workshop provides excellent advertising for the public workshop that follows. A press conference conducted in part as a co-design dialogue with the journalists as participants creates public awareness as well as first-class design material. Journalists possesses talent in descriptive skills and in their coverage of public events become knowledgeable of the environment of public spaces. Photos. Robson Square, Vancouver. Architect Arthur Erickson. Photo Stanley King. Steps of the workshop program. Listing the activities. Taking a site walk. Visualizing ideas. Rating priorities. Producing concept design. Exhibiting in the community. Report on ways to achieve aims. The inclusion of separate workshops. Preparation. Volunteer workshop. Children workshop. Early bird workshop. Public workshop. Concept design. Exhibition. Report. Although a babysitting service is a good idea at workshops, some children will want to join in with the adults. Here the artist draws for a youngster and her mother. Photo Stephen Hayward. A teddy bear accompanies a participant. Photo Don Wise.